All right, so usually in the last day class, what I like to do is I like to read the letter X from Rad American Women A to Z. I mentioned this book to you a couple of lecture modules ago in the civil rights movement. It has the great, I can't remember, is D for Dolores or H for Huerta, I can't remember, but Dolores Huerta's in there, and it tells the great story about calling out the men in the movement for the sexist comments that they're making. So again, I usually read X on the last day of class because I think it sums up some of the themes that we've talked about in our class. And one of the things you might remember, seems like a lifetime ago, but on that first day of class, I asked for like some information about yourself and kind of questions you have about the class. And one of the things I asked you to do is jot down a historical figure that kind of resonated with you. It's a way to kind of help me learn your names. And I said, I hope it's women's history, so I hope that you're able to put in a woman's name there. But again, maybe you don't have that because that's why you're in a women's history class. So hopefully now you have some of those names. But what I like about X is that it also speaks to some of the challenges of women's history. So here's the letter X from Rad American Women A to Z. It's for the women we haven't learned about yet, and the women whose stories we will never read. X is for the women whose voices weren't heard, for the women who aren't in the history books at the halls of fame on postage stamps and coins, for the women who didn't get credit for their ideas and inventions, who couldn't own property or sign their own names, the women who weren't taught to read or write but managed to communicate anyway, who weren't allowed to work but still supported their families, or who worked all day but weren't paid as much as the men. X is for the radical histories that didn't get recorded. X is for our mothers, our matriarchs, our ancestors, the nurses and neighbors and aunties and teachers, the women who made huge changes, and the women who made dinner. X is the hand that built and shared and fought and wrote, the bodies that birthed and worked and strained to keep going, the feet that walked, ran, jumped, and balanced, the minds that dreamed and desired, and the hearts that loved. X is for all that is happening now and that is still to come. X is for the women in homes and offices and fields and labs and classrooms who invent and transform and build and create. X is for all that we don't know about the past, but X is also for the future. X marks the spot where we stand today. What will you do to make the world rad?